drill. Good morning. Good morning. This is Prince's number one fan, Melina Abdullah on the mic. Grateful to be here. Grateful to be with our KBLA family. You are on with Black Lives Matter, grassroots for This Is Not a Drill. I'm coming to you live. We are coming to you live from our Crenshaw studios, KBLA Talk 1580. We're also simulcasting to facebook.com/BLMLA when we can get it up. We're working on this signal right now. Glad to have President doing some technical stuff behind the scenes trying to get us up. Pastor Q got his phone going, though, so you can see Pastor Q.
Probably can.
You probably can. Probably can. You can see Pastor.
See you too.
Oh, and he's turning it this way. You can see me too. But if you listening, the best way to listen, of course, is through the KBLA app. So if you don't have it yet, please download it to your phone. I don't know what you're waiting on. Again, my name is Melina Abdullah, and I'm going to introduce myself first as Prince Fan in Chief on Prince Day. But I'm also professor of Pan-African Studies at Cal State LA's College of Ethnic Studies. I'm co-founder of Black Lives Matter Los Angeles and Black Lives Matter Grassroots, where I'm also director. And most importantly, I am Tandiwe Amaran Amen's mama. And I'm glad to be here with my co-host. There's nobody better to co-host during Black Music Month than Pastor Q Jean Marie. We're going to say all of who he is. Of course, he's a faith-rooted organizer, pastor, member of Black Lives Matter Los Angeles, one of the founding members of Clergy for Black Lives. He's from the Roe Church, Church Without Walls. He does a lot of work. This is really important, especially in this moment, that he is organizing for all Black people, including our Black migrant community, of which he is one. And he is with Creating Justice LA. What's the center, though? That's not the name of the center.
Yeah.
It's the Peace and Healing Center.
Yeah, our center is called the Peace and Healing Center in downtown Los Angeles. It's actually set up like a coffee shop because it's home of the Hip Hop Smoothie Shop and Skid Row Coffee.
Hip Hop Smoothie. But he don't never bring me no smoothies.
You know
Look, I've
day.
never had a Hip Hop smoothie. No, once I had a Hip Hop Smoothie Shop smoothie. Thank you. Oh, good. We swapping out computers. Hip Hop Smoothie Shop smoothie one time.
Well, we got to get you some more.
Yeah, we got to get some more. So he is also, though, MC, and every now and then he still rocks the mic for us. He's always on the ones and twos for us, but every now and then we could get him to rock the mic because he's with the College Boys. And if you were present during hip hop's golden era, you remember the College Boys. How many of y'all know Pastor Q was one of the College Boys? So nobody better to co-host today with me than Pastor Q, always great on the mic, but especially today. Thank you for joining us on This Is Not a Drill on KBLA Talk 1580 every Saturday morning from 8 to 10. We bring to you on-the-ground updates, campaigns, news, challenges, and victories from the front lines. But before we get into it, it's more important now than ever that we ground ourselves. We ground ourselves with our land, labor, and life acknowledgement. And so we're going to invite you to sit as erectly as possible and put both feet on the ground if you can. If you can lower your gaze or close your eyes, put your hands in your lap, palms up. And we're going to ask you to take a deep breath in and breathe out. The land which we inhabit in what is now known as Los Angeles is physically situated in the original ancestral homelands of the Tongva, Quiche, Chumash, and Gabrielino people. We pay respect to the Tongva, Quiche, Chumash, Gabrielino, and all indigenous people, past, present, and future, and their continuing presence in the homeland and throughout their historical diaspora. Take another deep breath in. And breathe out. We pay homage to those who were stolen from Africa, placed in bondage, falsely named as chattel, and forced into labor, who were called slaves but never submitted as such, who've always been fully human with an unbroken connection to the divine and to each other. We honor our African ancestors for the still unpaid labor which built what is now the Americas. Take another deep breath in and breathe out. To both our indigenous and African forebears, we commit to the continued struggle for liberation and reparations, for it is only through freedom and justice that we truly give honor. Ashe. Ashe.
Ashe.
Ashe. And so, I'm going to say it again. Ow! I'm going to say it again. Ow! Look, I can't do it well because they tear gassed me yesterday. But I still got it in me. Today is Prince Day.
That's what it is.
Today is Prince Day.
That's what it is. Purple rain, baby.
Purple rain.
There's
He
more rain
didn't
outside.
celebrate his birthday, but we celebrate the fact that he was born into this world, that we got to walk this earth, play in the sunshine, stand under the cherry moon, bathe in the purple rain, and do all of that. At least in our minds, I got to bathe in the purple rain with Prince, right? And of course, it's appropriate that Prince Day is during Black Music Month.
Come on now.
So June is Black Music Month. Look, really, I'm not, when I say I am Prince's #1 fan, I could go into every story about why I'm his #1 fan. And y'all can fight me for that title if you want to. But we got to remember, Prince played 27 instruments.
Yeah.
Self-taught, mastered 27 instruments. Nobody. There was this interview that I forgot who that was, who interviewed Eric Clapton. And they said to Eric Clapton, how does it feel to be the world's greatest guitarist? And he said, I don't know, you have to ask Prince. You got to ask Prince. Miles Davis, when he was interviewed on Arsenio Hall, asked who the greatest artist, music artist of all time was. And he said Prince. Miles Davis said this.
Well, you know, Prince was such a genius, right? You know, in music, when we go to the studio, right, they say if you produce the record and you mix the record, you can't master the record. Because if you master the record, mastering is the final stage. So if you master the record, or even if you produce it and you mix it, your ears might be shot from listening to it so much. And no one could do that. No one can go in before Prince and produce the record, master the record, and also mix the record. But Prince was able to do it without him.
And play some songs. If you go through the songs, there's very few that have other folks on it. Like some of the songs will say all voices, instruments, production, everything comes from Prince. And what I want to offer is when we think about our greatest, I mean, when he changed his name and became just the artist, right? And that's also something we should talk about, because his genius is not just about what he was able to do on the mic or in the studio as a musical artist, but also how he stood up for the rights and responsibilities of artists. So when he changed his name and became the artist, I also want us to think about the artist as what art means, right? I believe in order to be a true artist, you have to be in complete submission to God, right? That you have to allow spirit to work through you. And there's no way, if you listen to songs like God, right? Which is the flip side, the B-side to the Purple Rain single. If you listen to songs like God, where all of those voices are Prince, right? He is in a state where God is speaking and singing and playing through him. So it's really important that we understand that, you know, I'm not just a Prince fan because it's fun, right? I'm also anybody who's ever been to a Prince concert, right? And I've been to all of them since 7th grade, right? I've been to every single one.
Every last one.
Every last one.
Wow.
Every last one since 7th grade. And I brag that also when he had a show, I was at every show. So if he played 3 nights, I was at all 3 nights, right? except for when he did.
Never been to a Prince show.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh.
But I have something better. Though. I have
What's-
something better.
you
Remember
played
when
with him?
Prince owned the club right down the street?
Glam Slam.
Glam Slam.
Yeah.
Right. So we performed there.
Did he come
one
out?
night we performed there, and Prince was sitting on the speakers, but he was swinging his legs. Right. He was sitting on the speakers, and he was so short. We thought it was a kid, and then when we got off stage, he was like, "Yo, brothers, that was dope."
Oh wow!
Yeah. And we were walking, and I turned around. I was like, "Prince." He was like, "Yeah, man, what's up? That was a good show."
Wow!
Yeah.
Look, I can beat you though.
You can.
Kind of.
Okay, go ahead. What you got?
Well, no, because how did you react when he said that?
I was like, "All right, man, thanks."
And that's it.
Yeah, because we were artists too, and artists,
You don't want to fan
yeah,
out.
exactly. But we were excited. I mean, because we had his club, right, and
And
we
he said,
performed there,
"Good
and he's
show."
sitting right there, right,
He
right,
gave you the nod.
right when we walked out off the stage.
No, I can't beat that. I can't beat that. I'm not an artist.
But what you got? What you got?
One time at this club, he told me I had he was sitting in a booth, and I knew his drummer,
Right.
Kurt. And I walked up and said hi because I knew the rapper and
Right.
the drummer. So I asked the rapper, Mike, where's Kurt? Because me and Kurt were real close. And then Prince was sitting there, and he had on glasses in the club at night and was sucking on a lollipop, right?
Uh-huh.
And he lowered his glasses and looked at me, and I was, cute. I was 21,
Right.
right? Young and cute. And he looked over his glasses, and he said, "You have beautiful eyes."
He thought you were Apollonia.
No, she doesn't have to
I'm
say.
just messing.
Look, he said, "You have beautiful eyes," but listen to my response. I said, "Thanks," and then I literally ran. I ran. I was so not cool. I couldn't. There's many stories about me
Right,
almost getting to have a conversation with
How
Prince.
old were you then?
21.
Oh yeah, that's expected.
Yeah,
though.
yeah. All right, when we come forward, we're going to have headlines. But on the show, as you can guess, we're going to talk about Black Music Month. One of my favorite scholars on the subject, Dr. Shauna Redmond, who you remember when she was at UCLA. She's at Columbia now. She wrote 2 books that are must reads. People always ask me for a reading list. These 2 books are must reads. Anthem, about the power of Black music.
Okay, I got to
Anthem.
check that out.
And Everything Man about Paul Robeson. So I love Shauna Redmond. Shauna Redmond is also, I get to brag a little bit. She wrote our, the Justice carols that we sing during
Right.
Black Xmas.
Oh, okay.
Shauna Redmond, tweaked those, kind of wrote the lyrics for us on those. So
I thought you
Shauna
did that.
Redmond. Now, you don't want me. There's a couple things I can't do: healing, justice, and artistry. You don't want me in any of those spaces. I'm just an appreciator, not a.
Oh, you're an artist in your own right.
Okay.
In different ways.
Thank you. I'm an artist when it comes
yeah,
to starting stuff.
organizers.
When it comes to raising, starting stuff, I'm an artist.
You're doing live art
Okay.
when you organize it.
I'll
Come
take
on now.
that. When we come forward, we're going to talk about headlines. And then for our conversation, our main conversation, we got Dr. Shauna Redmond joining us. And then for our more than a hashtag conversation, we're going to talk about the murder of a brother named Marquez Crowder, who most folks did not even hear about, was killed in Louisiana. So his family will join us. But before we do any of that, we'll come back and talk with Pastor Q about these headlines. More to come.
Word up.
When we come forward. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. You ready?
Somebody make some noise in this joint.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates its 4th anniversary this year on Juneteenth.
Here we go again.
Hard to believe 4 years has gone by so fast. Oh my God. But here we are, still standing, still loving and serving our people as best we can.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
To celebrate our 4th anniversary, we have 4 big events, and you're invited to all of them.
She got a lot to say. Let's do this.
Let's get it on.
On Wednesday, June 18th, we go live on C-SPAN for the second consecutive year with our Climate Justice plus Black Health Symposium. Tavis Smiley will moderate an all-star panel of thinkers and influencers as we continue our vitally important climate justice work.
Hey, Tavis Smiley, call the bomb.
On Thursday, June 19th, you're invited to join us as we celebrate Juneteenth and our 4th anniversary. There'll be plenty of food, fun, great music, good vibes, and all of your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts will be there.
Yeah, man.
Flip the beat. On Saturday, June 21st, there are 2 big events you're invited to attend.
I can't wait to hear it.
This year, KBLA Talk 1580 continues its annual partnership with the Empowerment Congress for a community celebration and dialogue to educate, engage, and empower. This year's theme is Resilience in the Face of Chaos.
Can't wait to see what's up next.
Y'all ain't ready for this.
And new this year is our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium, moderated by Dominique DePrima, with a luncheon to follow. Dominique will be leading a dialogue with some of the most impactful Black women leaders in Los Angeles, and you're invited to join.
This is it.
All of these events are free, but seating is limited, so you must register in advance at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can find all the details you need about each event.
Check it out.
It's our 4th anniversary, and we would love to celebrate it with you.
I love you guys so much. There's nothing you can do about it.
We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The only black talk radio station west of the Mississippi.
Thank you for having our black.
Happy anniversary, KBLA!
We love you. Love you.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Now at Verizon, we have some big news for your peace of mind. For all our customers, existing and new, we're locking in low prices for 3 years guaranteed on My Plan and My Home. That's future you peace of mind. And everyone can save on a brand new phone on My Plan when you trade in any phone from one of our top brands. That's new phone peace of mind. Because at Verizon, whether you're already a customer or you're just joining us, we got you. Visit Verizon today. Price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
BLM's This Is Not a Drill on KBLA Talk 1580. 1580.
Should know by the way you parked your car sideways at a wooden glass. See, you're the kind of person that believes in making out once, love them and leave them fast. Guess I must be dumb. She had a pocket full of horses, Trojan and some of them used. But it was Saturday night. I guess that makes it alright. You see, what have I got to lose?
I did not know what that line is. There's some stuff. All right. So this is not a drill. And we listening to Prince all day because it's
right.
Prince Day.
How many times did you see Purple Rain, though?
29 times in the theater. In the
beat
theater. When it was out in the theater, 29 times.
Yo.
Parkway Theater
Yo.
on Park Boulevard in Oakland, 29 times. I'd go in there and sit all day long. That's when you could do that.
you paid the theater's rent.
I know, but I was mad. I remember when it left the theater, I was like, no, I needed one more so it could be an even number so I could say 30.
I only saw it about 7 times, but not in the theater.
No?
Yeah, I saw it one time in the theater.
I think it's playing. I was driving down Highland, and I think it's playing in a theater today.
Oh,
so maybe I'll do that today. Maybe that'll be what I make my. I'm gonna force
30th.
Men to go with me. I don't think he's ever seen it.
That'll be good.
Yeah, my son, 15. Ooh, I might have to cover his eyes for parts of it.
Yeah, you might.
Yeah, for the Apollonia barn scene.
Yeah, but that's the best part. No, let me stop.
So look, we do have some serious headlines, though. We got some serious headlines. I'm Melina Abdullah. This is not a drill. I'm in studio with Pastor Q.
What's
Pastor
up,
Q
people?
is going to walk us into these headlines because there is some serious stuff going down. But look, even in the midst of fascism, we still got to have humanity.
We gotta
gotta
have black joy.
music,
We gotta have
black joy.
Come on.
But it doesn't mean black joy to retreat from
No, no, no.
resistance. It means black joy as resistance.
And to fuel ourselves, right?
That's
and
right.
To fuel our spirits.
That's right.
Yeah.
So what we got in these headlines?
Well,
Pastor Q?
man, yesterday while I was at the church with our walls down the street, I heard something going down on Town and 9th Street. Yesterday, ICE terrorized Los Angeles with mass Gestapos carrying out raids at schools, donut shops, shopping centers, Home Depots, right? Angelinos are rising up, though. Rapid response teams turned out to protect each other in the midst of mass detentions. Labor leader David Huerta, a friend of mine, was reportedly brutalized and detained. A mass rally convened and folks were tear gassed and shot up with rubber bullets. And I saw you online, even though I couldn't make it. Doc, what's up with that? What happened?
Yeah, so we went out, the word went out. I'm grateful also that our labor folks are 10 toes down, right? So I was on a call with my union, the California Faculty Association, and several of our folks were part of that rapid response.
That's what's up.
So when people were getting swept up, and we got to be real clear, Pastor Q, about what's happening, right? These are, like you said, masked Gestapo.
That's right.
They are not showing their faces. They don't have on traditional uniforms. They just coming in at schools.
Many of them are white supremacists.
White supremacists.
That's
and
why
they
they're
are
hiding their faces.
grabbing people and disappearing them.
Right.
And so we got
to without due process.
And how do you know who these people are? Not that police are any safer from, regular white supremacists.
But at least you can hold them accountable.
They're not showing there's no badges, no names. It won't even say the name of the agency half the time, and they're just grabbing people and disappearing them. We know that at least 50 folks were rounded up yesterday, but also the masked Gestapo was also challenged by people. So then there was this kind of intuitive rally that formed. Hundreds of folks came out to the federal courthouse. And then as we marched around the corner to the federal detention center, usually, and what I was sharing with you is, because we've been in the streets a long time.
Man.
And usually you can feel the skirmish line form and you make a choice. Am I going to stay or am I going to go? That didn't happen. We hit the side of the building, just walking with a truck, playing music. They threw tear gas at us, like instantly. We just hit the corner. They threw, there were just clouds of tear gas in people's eyes, babies getting tear gas, because people are coming with their families to stand up for folks. So this is, y'all, this is really the people got to rise up and say, no, we are demanding. We're putting our bodies on the line. And there were a few people who hit me who said, black people have been on the line too much. We don't need to be on the line no more. Pastor Q, what you got to say as a black migrant?
Well, first of all, the empire don't care who you are, right? There's no safe space in the empire just because you don't get out and on the front line doesn't mean you won't get hit. Look at what happened to our folks from Haiti, right? Black people usually get deported in silence. And that's why you think you can stay home, because you're not connected to your diaspora. You're not connected to your Pan-Africanism, right? Many of us have been so colonized that we're comfortable.
That's right. So colonized that we're comfortable.
Yes.
We cannot try to be comfortable. There is no comfortable place in oppression. This is fascism, y'all. So look, people talk about always film the police. Yes, film the police. And more than that, I'm sorry, if they snatch you up.
And you don't know who they are, you got to defend yourself.
Yeah. And when they're snatching up mamas, snatching up children.
Right.
They not. If I'm there and they trying to snatch up kids, this mama, I know I'm a 52-year-old woman, but I'm not letting them snatch up nobody's
right, because
baby.
someone has a mask on. You don't know who they are.
They gonna have to fight me. They gonna have to fight me.
Exactly.
They gonna have to fight me. And so
it is what it is.
Miss me with the black people. Sit this one out.
No, we're not
because
sitting this out.
No, we're not. One, we are migrants.
Right.
Black people are migrants.
Right. I was born in St. Lucia.
Right.
Right. And I didn't go to St. Lucia. My ancestors didn't go to St. Lucia on a vacation.
Right.
Right. We were brought there in chains.
Right. And so that was your stop.
Exactly.
You are the descendant of enslaved people.
That's right.
You are.
Yeah.
I am.
Exactly.
Right. Somebody actually said, we got to also have courageous conversations about this being a nation of immigrants and a city of immigrants. I don't consider myself an immigrant.
Right.
But my ancestors demand that I fight. My ancestors demand that I fight for, because my ancestors did not choose to come here.
Right.
Right.
When they separated us in Africa, right, we don't know where our families went to, right?
Right.
I mean, our cousins and different folks, we all over the world.
Right.
Right. So we're connected whether we like it or not by blood.
I love what you said. We got to really tap into our Pan-Africanism, but also, I mean, you always talk about create justice.
Right.
Like we are a people of justice.
Right.
You cannot sit home. And also, if you're only self-interested, if you're only worried about black people, when in the history of this country, and I know we only got 30 seconds,
right,
but when in the history of this country did they come for somebody else and not come for black people? Right. So you might be going,
well, we usually the first ones they come for, right?
But if we not going to be the first, we going to be the second.
Exactly.
So don't think they going to come for our brown
Trump,
siblings and not come for you.
Trump just had the travel advisory ban, right? And he banned mostly countries from Africa.
Right. Well, when we come forward, we're going to get the rest of these headlines and finish this conversation with Pastor Q.
Yes, yes.
BLM's This Is Not a Drill continues when we come forward.
I'm Misty Jordan with BIN News Now. South Florida lawmakers are protesting President Trump's sweeping travel restrictions. Representative Marie Woodson immigrated from Haiti to Broward County when she was 21. She calls the travel ban unconstitutional. State Representative Wallace is also against the ban and believes immigrants have helped Florida.
I stand with my colleagues to see a Florida that works for everybody and it works for immigrants.
The ban is set to take effect Monday. Diddy has been on trial for weeks fighting sex trafficking charges. He's been in jail since September. However, Diddy is still making a lot of money by renting out a 14-passenger private jet he owns. The plane has raked in at least $4 million in 8 months. And severe weather is threatening nearly 90 million Americans from Colorado to the East Coast this weekend. Heavy wind gusts and hail are both in the forecast. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Tired of feeling alone in your job search? With just one connection, you can find endless job opportunities. That connection is Express Employment Professionals. Don't go it alone. Visit expresspros.com to find the location nearest you. That's expresspros.com.
The revolution will not be televised.
What's up? It is Killer Mike, also known as Michael Render, and I'm encouraging you to listen to more, not less, of Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Senator Nina Turner on KBLA Talk 1580.
Pasadena City College is proud to support Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr. For over 100 years, PCC has been a pillar of the community, and we're here for you as we work together to recover from the Eaton fire and rebuild Altadena's future. At PCC, we offer diverse career education programs that prepare you for in-demand jobs, fueling both today's recovery and tomorrow's growth. Whether you're starting a new career or advancing your skills, PCC gives you tools to build your future and your community. Pasadena City College, here for the Dena, here for you. Learn more at PCCfordena.com.
The State of the People Power Tour is not a moment, it's a movement. 11 cities, one mission. To organize with care, build with strategy, and remind ourselves that we have never needed saving. This Friday and Saturday, the State of the People Power Tour arrives in LA for its final stop. The State of the People Power Tour is not just a series of stops. It's a signal, a shift, a belief that power lies in the hands of everyday people. A belief that if we show up for each other, our communities will be stronger. Join us this Friday, June 6th in Los Angeles at the Seed School and on Saturday, June 7th at Pasadena City College. We need you in the room to link arms with neighbors and leaders from across the country to build something that will last, because we believe if we move together, we will rise together. For more information and to register, go to stateoftheppl.com and join us as we build a new nation where every voice matters.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to self-care and community well-being. Walk Good LA was formed in June 2020, inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement and the beginning stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. What began as a few minutes of breath work and yoga meditation before protests against police brutality turned into a safe space for the community to heal in hard times. The immensely positive response from the community transformed the momentum into a movement. Today, Walk Good LA is a black and brown-led community wellness organization based in Los Angeles. They provide spaces for healing through community yoga classes, guided meditations, hikes, run clubs, and other activations throughout Los Angeles that attract hundreds of members weekly. With the help of Propel and Michael B. Jordan, they now have a yoga and wellness studio in Los Angeles called the Walk Good Yard. To join their mailing list and connect with healing spaces, please visit walkgoodla.org. That's walkgoodla.org. Or find them on Instagram at WalkGoodLA. This is a community call to action, a community call to healing from KBLA Talk 1580.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds. Learning new things comes with age.
My mom? She started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
You're listening to BLM's This Is Not a Drill. Now, back to the conversation.
Dig, if you will, the picture of you and I engaged in a kiss. The sweat of your body covers me. Can you, my darling, can you picture this?
Where do you find this stuff, man?
Look, my chain, my earrings, my shirt.
Where do you find all this
It's
stuff?
Prince Day. It's Prince Day, and we are in studio with
Indeed,
Pastor
indeed.
Q. My name is Melina Abdullah. We are finishing up these headlines. We're talking about what's happening in the world. We're talking about masked Gestapo running around, hiding, and snatching up people. Snatching up people, and how we have to put our bodies on the line. We have to put our bodies on the line. Please pay attention to these all-outs.
That's right.
I don't know if you all are seeing them, but please pay attention to these all-outs. There is mass community self-defense happening.
That's right.
And so we have to keep each other safe. We have to keep each other safe. They were losing their minds yesterday in Los Angeles, but the people will continue to fight back.
That's
and
right.
all of us stand together. All of us stand together. We rise and fall together, right?
Indeed.
What else we got in these
And
headlines?
speaking
Pastor
of
Q?
Gestapo, right? This week, Assembly member Isaac Bryan advanced two important BLM California-backed bills. AB 7 will support the admission of the descendants of chattel slavery to public universities, and AB 1269, Waukesha's Law, will require 24-hour family notification when someone dies inside California jails or detention centers.
So that is phenomenal. That is
Yes,
phenomenal. So
yes.
we don't,
Long time coming.
Black Lives Matter grassroots is boots on the ground.
That's right.
We are boots on the ground, and
we ain't got no fans either.
I like fans.
Yeah, I like them, but we ain't got them.
We about to order them.
Okay.
We gonna
Somebody
order
gotta
some
donate 'em.
fans.
That's
yeah,
right.
We gonna order some fans because I like doing a line dance.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
what it- that's
I
what
like
it
doing
is.
a line dance at a protest.
Right.
Remember that used to be our thing, a line
Right,
dance at a
exactly.
protest.
Yeah, even before the song came out.
Even
right?
before the song, I think that song was dedicated to us. It's called
Yeah,
Boots
it's
on
gotta,
the Ground.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
Just like King Kunta and all that other stuff.
That's right. That's right. Their
Yeah.
theme songs.
Yeah.
We are boots on the ground, and policy work is hugely important.
That's
so
right.
we're grateful that one of our own is a lawmaker.
Indeed.
And Isaac Bryan is one of our own. Black Lives Matter is his home.
I call it survival pending revolution.
Exactly, and that's what the Panthers called it.
That's right.
Survival
That's where I
pending
got it from.
revolution. So AB 7 is really, really important to give consideration to descendants of chattel slavery. That includes my children for CSU and UC admission, right?
Right.
And then AB 1269, we have fought for 9 years to make Waukesha's Law a law.
That's right.
Waukesha Wilson was killed inside LAPD Metro Detention Center in 2016. And now it looks like through the California State Legislature, it will require that when someone dies in custody, they have to notify their loved ones. It's basic, but it needs to happen. It needs to happen. What else we got, Pastor Q?
Yes, on Tuesday, LAUSD students, parents, educators, community members pulled up to the school board meeting to offer public comment in support of the Police-Free LAUSD Coalition's demand. This June, LAUSD will be deciding how to spend its massive budget. The Police-Free LAUSD Coalition, which students deserve and Black Lives Matter, LA helped create in 2020, is demanding $100 million of black student achievement, $5 million for dream centers and real sanctuary protections, queer affirming spaces, curriculum, and LGBTQ plus liaison at every school. And lastly, end school policing, invest in community-based safety. LAUSD failed to spend nearly $150 million committed to BSAP.
To BSAP, and we want them to put the black back in BSAP.
That's
and
right.
We are grateful to our siblings at Students Deserve, which
Yeah.
organizes our young people. Shouts out to Joseph, who sometimes rocks the mic here, for leading that. And then we know every Wednesday, what happens, Pastor Q?
Every Wednesday, we have our End Police Association rally at the Hall of Injustice in downtown Los Angeles. What's the address, Doc? 211 West Temple at 4 p.m. It goes down every Wednesday. I can't say it like Baba Achille, but
every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday,
and Pastor
right?
Q is there. I'm there.
That's right.
Baba Achille is there. We
and
need
we've been
you
there,
to be
right?
there.
And we've been there.
Right. We chasing out Nathan Hockman. Bye, Nate.
Right.
And then lastly,
yes,
organize with us.
Yes. Tomorrow, Sunday, June 8th, come out to the Black Lives Matter LA monthly organizing meeting at 7 p.m. at the Center for Black Power in Africatown, or what you might call Lamert Park. As always, there will be free hot dinner and produce bags will be provided for all who attend. Closed to law enforcement, media, elected officials, their staff, and also haters. Y'all got to stay away. That's the monthly organizing meeting Sunday, June 8th at 7 p.m. at the Center for Black Power, located at 3423 West 43rd Place in Africatown. Be sure you're following at BLM Los Angeles on IG, or some would say Instagram, to stay updated on all upcoming meetings and actions.
Yes, yes. So join us there, right? Most of what we do in organizing is invisible, but we need you to organize with us. We need you to organize also, remembering that Black lives are constantly on the line. And what Baba Keeley said, Black life is far too high a price to pay for movement. So for our more than a hashtag conversation, we are in conversation with Sister Shawnee Hall Trotter, who is the family of Marquez Crowder. And I don't know, Sister Shawnee, I'm really plugged in to what happens around the country with the murders of our folks, but I didn't hear about your loved one until a couple of weeks ago. He was killed in November of last year in Louisiana. Shawnee Hall Trotter, thank you so much for joining us on This Is Not a Drill.
Thank y'all for having me.
Can you tell us a little bit, and we just have about a minute for this piece of it, but we'll come forward with more of it. Tell us about your loved one, Marquez Crowder. Am I saying his name correctly?
It's Marquez.
Marquez Crowder. Marquez Crowder.
So, growing up, Marquez was very meek, mild, respectful all the time. Very active in the church, in the youth department. Played the drums, started playing the drums at the age of about 3. Became the youth drummer between the age of 11 or 12 years old. Was active in the mime ministry, the drama ministry, the choir itself. He was very athletic. He played baseball, basketball was his passion, football. He was just an all-around athletic child. Started playing about the age of 4. Playing basketball, was holding a basketball in his hand. He loved his family. He was, of course, a son, grandson, nephew, a father of a 2-year-old little boy, a sibling, cousin, friend to many people. He was just who he was, and tragically, he was murdered on November the 23rd at the age of 21 by a police officer in Bastrop, Louisiana.
Ooh, that's a lot. That's a lot. And a 21-year-old, when we think about 21, what was he visioning for himself in his future?
Right. Was actually getting ready to start his first real job that Monday.
Goodness. Where was he going to be working?
He was going to go work with DG Foods in Bastrop, which is like a chicken plant. That's where he was heading to. He had been working construction with his mom's friend out in Mississippi. So he had that training under his belt as well. Doing laying concrete mainly.
Well, when we come forward, and we know Marquez Crowder, when you talk about a 21-year-old, that is someone coming into his manhood, but he's still a child, really.
Right.
Because my oldest is 21, right? So I know there's still, they haven't even, what do they call it? Incarnated completely. Their brains aren't even completely formed at 21 years old. So he's a young person. So I can't imagine how this has struck your family.
Oh yeah.
When we come forward, we want to hear about what happened to Marquez on November 23rd, 2024. More with Shawnee Hall Trotter.
Thank you.
BLM's This Is Not a Drill, only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant. who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock, because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at lifelock.com. Terms apply.
The State of the People Power Tour is not a moment, it's a movement. 11 cities, one mission: to organize with care, build with strategy, and remind ourselves that we have never needed saving. This Friday and Saturday, the State of the People Power Tour arrives in LA for its final stop. Join us this Friday, June 6th in Los Angeles and on Saturday, June 7th in Pasadena. To register, go to stateoftheppl.com and join us as we build a new nation where every voice matters.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
BLM's This Is Not a Drill continues right now.
Nobody got in nobody's way, so I guess you could say it was a good day. At least a little better than the day in Baltimore. Does anybody hear us pray for Michael Brown or Freddie Gray? Peace is more than the absence of war.
More than the absence of war. That is Prince. I know people are used to, 1999 and Purple Rain, but we also have to remember that Prince was a social justice artist and connected his work to doing good work, advancing justice in this world. So Baltimore is definitely one of those anthems. We are talking with Shawnee Hall Trotter in our More Than a Hashtag conversation. And we're talking about her loved one, Marquez Crowder, and want to plug back in. Can you tell us, Sister Shawnee, about the circumstances that stole your loved one's life?
Yes, ma'am. It was Saturday, November 23rd, about 8:30 something p.m. And what was supposed to be a traffic stop because of a license plate not being on the back of the car turned into him being murdered. Officer jumped out the car, didn't read any rights, nothing like that, just started shooting. He had been with some friends in a vehicle where for sure we don't really know, but they got pulled over. One of the friends jumped out on the passenger side, ran, and before the car even stopped, and Marquez got out to run, heading in front of the car when he was shot in the shoulder. He fell. The officer shot him again and continued to shoot him about, for what we were told, in his body about 11 times. There were 17 shots, gunshots, so the officer emptied the clip. Recently, just from what has been aired, the body cam took 6 months to come out. We just got it. It was just released this week on our local news stations. We do have a copy of it. We as a family have not sat down and watched the whole thing just as of yet, but we will watch it. But they are releasing it bit by bit. We were told, I haven't watched everything, but the last thing that was released said that the officer or an officer there said reload, reload, reload. So I guess if he would have gotten another clip, he was going to shoot him on up. You know, as one family member, grandmother, has repeatedly said, you don't kill an animal like that because the meat is not any good. He was cold-blooded murdered. Don't know what the motive was, why, what happened, the reasoning behind it. We've had speculations, but we don't know. We finally met with, well, let me go back. The sheriff, who the maternal grandmother worked for the sheriff department, had just retired. He came over to our house that Sunday or that Monday, I can't recall, sat down, spoke with us, and his mom asked, did he have a gun? He stated, I watched the video, but I couldn't watch it because it was too hard to watch. It was just too hard to watch. And I did not see a gun, is what he told us. You are the sheriff, so we know that you are extremely trained. So if anybody would have saw a gun, you would have saw it. But he said he did not see the gun, did not see a gun. Moving forward, we were trying to get in. Radio station here was trying to get in to talk to a social media outlet. Other NAACP was trying to talk to the DA. We were trying to talk to the DA, kept being put off, saying it was still under investigation. It did not go to our state police. It went to a task force that consists of, we are a parish in Louisiana. So it consists of parishes in this region that were on this task force. And they investigated it, which took 6 months to investigate. Then when the DA finally met with us 2 weeks ago, he stated in there that it was really bad and we need to just wait till we can see what they saw. The first 5 seconds of the video tells it all. The first 5 seconds had to be the other young man either jumping out the car or the officer putting the car in park and getting out. There was nothing else. The videos, like I said, are on the local TV station, KTVE, Channel 10 in Monroe, and KNOE, TV 8 News in Monroe, Louisiana. My nephew never turned around. And the DA released a letter stating publicly that he turned and pointed the gun multiple times at the officer, and this is why the officer pursued with shooting. That didn't happen, not in the videos.
So you're in near Monroe.
Yeah, we're north of Monroe.
So you're near where Ronald Green was.
Yes, ma'am. So Ronald Green's family and I grew up together.
Wow. And for folks who don't remember, Ronald Green was beaten to death in 2019 by Louisiana state troopers. His last words to them were, "I am your brother." There was a massive cover-up of Ronald Green's murder. They tried to say he died in a car accident. And it wasn't until his family painstakingly demanded justice and went through the evidence and found that he was beaten to death. There has been no justice in the murder of Ronald Green. And one of the things that we know is that you can't really get justice for anybody, but you can demand accountability. And when we don't have accountability, it enables the police who stole the life of your family member. What can we do, Sister Shawnee Hall Trotter? What are you doing? I know that they just released the video.
Right.
What does the struggle look like for you, and how can we help?
Mainly getting the word out. We want this to be national news. It's got to get out there. Thank you all for your platform. Thank you to Ms. Joseph, who reached out, who came in about 3 or 4 weeks ago now for the Ronald Green event, bringing families together of those that lost their loved ones to police brutality. And Ms. Joseph, Andrew Joseph's mom, Deanna reached out to me that day and then reached out, not too long ago to tell me about this. We thank you for that. Everyone just share it. Like you said, you had never heard about it. It's been 6 months since it happened. So we do want that. We are speaking to different coalitions, gaining ground on different things, legal counsel, everything that we need to do. We will set up a GoFundMe to, get things out, because it's going to take money to get things out, word out, to be able to, get this to be a national thing. Mainly, the most important thing is prayer. We know that there's power in prayer. What they went in to do, there's a grand jury. The grand jury was told, what you see is basically not what you see. You're going to go with what we say you're going to go with. So, cost the grand jury, few of them, we've been told, did vote that they did not see what the people saying they need to see. But there was some that sat back because they were told to sit back and shut up. And that's perjury at its finest.
No charges. No charges have been filed.
No charge.
Okay.
None.
So I'll make sure that I follow up with you. I know that we've exchanged numbers. Deanna Hardy Joseph, is our board member and leads Justice Families along with her husband Andrew Joseph Jr. For Black Lives Matter Grassroots. So we're grateful that she was able to connect with you, and then we'll talk about how we can amplify your story, amplify the name Marquez Crowder. We're hearing the call. Make sure that everybody says his name, Marquez Crowder, because that creates pressure. We also know we're living under a Trump regime that has enabled what he calls the unleashing of law enforcement. We say unleash the people, so that we can demand justice in the name of Marquez Crowder and Ronald Green and so many others. Thank you so much for joining us on this.
Thank you so much. And you will hear, we did call him QUE. So please, if you hear that name, that's Marquez.
Pastor Q is sitting here smiling. He's here. That's his name, Pastor Q. Yeah. Yes. I think nothing is coincidental. Much more to come. We're going to talk with Shauna Redmond about the power of Black music when we come forward.
Thank y'all so much.
BLM's This Is Not a Drill, only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Pasadena City College is proud to support Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr. For over 100 years, PCC has been a pillar of the community, and we're here for you as we work together to recover from the Eaton fire and rebuild Altadena's future. At PCC, we offer diverse career education programs that prepare you for in-demand jobs, fueling both today's recovery and tomorrow's growth. Whether you're starting a new career or advancing your skills, PCC gives you tools to build your future and your community. Pasadena City College, here for the Dena, here for you. Learn more at pccfordena.com.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Imagine a Los Angeles where everyone can thrive, where communities have access to the resources they need to succeed. That's the vision of Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. They're dedicated to improving life in LA County by providing education.
Unapologetically progressive.
Unapologetically black.
More now, BLM's This Is Not a Drill. KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Misty Jordan with BIN News Now. South Florida lawmakers are protesting President Trump's sweeping travel restrictions. Representative Marie Woodson immigrated from Haiti to Broward County when she was 21. She calls the travel ban unconstitutional. State Representative Wallace is also against the ban and believes immigrants have helped Florida.
I stand with my colleagues to see a Florida that works for everybody, and it works for immigrants.
The ban is set to take effect Monday. Diddy has been on trial for weeks fighting sex trafficking charges. He's been in jail since September. However, Diddy is still making a lot of money by renting out a 14-passenger private jet he owns. The plane has raked in at least $4 million in 8 months. And severe weather is threatening nearly 90 million Americans from Colorado to the East Coast this weekend. Heavy wind gusts and hail are both in the forecast. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
The Dodgers and the Yankees, two of baseball's most iconic franchises. Their rivalry, once a battle between boroughs, would transition into an East Coast-West Coast affair. Come to Dodger Stadium Friday, May 30th through June 1st for the 3-game series between the Dodgers and the Yankees. Visit Dodgers.com/tickets.
Yeah, yo. Now come on. Here come the drums.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we fight the power every day.
Yeah, gotta give us what we want. Gotta give us what we need. Hey.
I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, you know, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it. Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power. Fight the power.
This is not a drill. This is not a drill. This is not a drill.
That's perfect.
This is not a drill. This is real.
Look, the only person we playing other than Prince today is Aloe Black.
That's what
Only
it is.
Aloe Black today other than Prince. Today is Prince Day. How we greet each other today? Ow! All day, that's the greeting. Look.
That's what it is.
Look, you know I like doing little weird stuff.
Right,
So look,
right.
people gonna just have to think I'm crazy. I am a little bit, but Asada Shakur
well, you
says
gotta
only
be-
the strong go crazy, the rest just
That's
go
right.
along.
That's right.
Oh, we should play that song.
Go crazy.
No, let's go crazy
Yeah.
and crazy you. Right.
Right.
Yeah. So Prince got two crazy songs.
Right. I think you might be the reincarnation of Prince, but except
I
now
was
you came
alive,
back as an
yeah.
organizer.
Also, I was alive when he was alive.
That's right. But
So
you
that
still,
couldn't.
but the spirit, he gave you a double portion before he left.
Okay, I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'll take that. So look, this is not a drill on KBLA Talk 1580. We are talking about the power of black music with one of my favorite people is our guest for the hour. We get to talk with Dr. Shauna Redmond, who used to be on the West Side. I don't know how she moved. We let her go to the East Coast. I don't know how we let her do that. I don't know how we let her go over to Columbia.
How do you leave the best side, right? For the
I
east
know.
side, right?
I
How do you
know.
do that?
I know. But we at least get to stay in touch. Dr. Shauna Redmond is powerful, powerful. There are two books that I keep saying, people ask me all the time about a reading list. Both of Shauna Redmond's books should be on that list. Anthem, which we're going to delve into a little bit today. And Paul Robeson, the book on Paul Robeson, is Everything Man, right? Everything Man.
Yes.
Because he is everything. That's such an appropriate title. So grateful to Shauna for that. Also, what's not in your bio is I was sharing with Pastor Q. Shauna is a black music scholar, English professor, all of that. And who knew she was a lyricist? I know she's a lyricist because when we go and do our justice caroling, those are the lyrics that were gifted to us by Shauna Redmond.
Oh, so she got bars.
She got bars. She got bars. So we're talking about the power of black music with, you can tell I love this person in real life too. The professor, the scholar, the author, but also the wonderful human being, Shauna Redmond. Thank you so much for joining us this morning on This Is Not a Drill, Dr. Shauna Redmond.
I'm happy to be here. Good to talk with you.
Yes. So let's start with, we're in this moment because you also write on politics, right? So music and literature and all of these things are not divorced from politics. In fact, when they're done well, they both influence and are influenced by what's happening in the world, right? And our place, power, questions of power in the world. And so let's start with the power of black music, this question of black music is power in this time of rising fascism. What are your thoughts? I haven't picked your brain yet on what you think about all of this bull crap that's happening all around the globe.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much. And we know this is part of the strategy is to create chaos so that we're distracted and disoriented. So it's hard to really kind of wade through all of the assaults because they are unrelenting at this moment. we're not only fighting for ourselves, but we're fighting for our neighbors, we're fighting for our peoples across the ocean. It's just an excessive, exhausting amount of vigilance that is expected and required of us at this moment. I think music has a really formative role to play in helping both to make sense of the times, but also, of course, to respond to it. And we've seen this over the course of Black music in particular, that it was never just a purely entertainment enterprise, that it was always about knowledge production. It was always about the sharing of stories. It was always about the building of identification. How do we actually understand ourselves as a we, as an us, as a diaspora of people? And it's through the music. And this is a big argument in Anthem, is that the music is actually how we know each other and how we continue to reinvent ourselves to one another. I'm announcing myself to you through the performance of these songs, and I'm inviting you to perform them with me, which is how we build community. It's how we stay in the struggle together. It's how we begin to understand our shared values and perform them for a public that then we can use that music to challenge. So I think in this moment, you know, there's again just so much going on, so much to respond to, and I think it's really, really important to listen locally under those circumstances, right? To listen to your neighborhood, your city musicians, because they're the ones who are keeping up in real time with the things that are most kind of present for you and your communities. But certainly we have troubadours out in the world who are doing this work, who are either performing or refusing to perform. And I think there's something to be said about that too. Where are people just refusing to perform? Where are people pulling their talents? We see the assaults on places like the Kennedy Center and things like that. And these are places that at some point have decided that Black music is worthy of staging, right? So we have Q-Tip, who's been working to kind of generate a hip hop program at the Kennedy Center. We have, you know, all of these people who are doing work in these centers that are now under attack. And I think it's really important to pay attention to where people have withdrawn their talents, have gone silent, because those moments are important also.
Right. And we can think about the artists that are refusing, thankfully, to go to places like Israel. We
Yes,
can think of,
absolutely.
yeah, yeah. Do you want to talk more about that?
Well, I mean, there have been multiple iterations of this demand that people refuse the very, very lucrative invitations to places like Israel. And this is part of, you know, there have been ways in which there have been arguments built around pink washing in Israel, right? They're kind of booming gay tourist investments as a way of dismissing or eliding the fact of their occupation and genocidal practices. But I think we need a name for the ways in which Black artists have also been hailed to attend and show up and be present in these spaces as a way of giving lie to their perpetual need to defend themselves as a democracy, or portray themselves as a democracy, to portray themselves as inclusive. And Black artists have been welcomed into that project. You can think about that also happening under apartheid in South Africa, right? Aretha Franklin, various people were invited to perform under apartheid, even though there was a massive global boycott that was happening in that moment. And I think we should have some language for that, because there are some people who succumb to that invitation, who accept that invitation, but there are many, many who refuse. And I think under those circumstances, we have to be championing those decisions and making them public, because it begins to build the grassroots efforts to actually defend against the practices of genocidal regimes, of fascist regimes, and begins to undercut the all too common sense that the media portrays around the goodness, around the hospitality, around the democratic ideals of these places that are otherwise vile and violent.
I think that, and we just got right into it, but hey, that's how we do, right? Um, I think that Richard Eiton's book is one of my favorite, you know, In Search of the Black Fantastic, which I know you're familiar with. And he talks about the role of artists, right? The role of artists as, and I think he gives kind of three ways in which artists support and embed themselves in movement, right? That incorporating movement messages into songs, right? So people like Macklemore, and I said, I'm opting out of the Kendrick Drake beef, although I'm West Side all the way, so
Right, right.
but I'm a push. Let's push Macklemore, right? Let's push Macklemore because he dares to have songs like Hens Hall, right?
Right, right.
So how do we push messages? How do we push Kaylani, right?
Right, right.
And others who dare to incorporate messaging into their music. He talks about how people use their platforms, that people can use their platforms to elevate certain things or not elevate others. What kinds of choices are you making when you take a check, Snoop Dogg, from Donald Trump? Right?
That's right. That's right.
What kind of choices are you making? And then third is really supporting movement by generating resources and funding the movement. And we see all three of those, I think, happening in this moment. Is that
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Richard Eiton, a dear colleague and brilliant thinker. I mean, In Search of the Black Fantastic, I'm certain he's on that list that you were earlier mentioning. It's a really significant book for thinking about all of the ways that African descended peoples have created arts cultures, right? Not just products, but cultures around their talents, cultures around our deeply shared, deeply held, long tradition building efforts to develop sound cultures of significance. And I think that's right, that we have to be paying attention to all of those fronts. I mean, I don't know how many people can see the StreamYard video behind me, but I have Harry Belafonte sitting over my left shoulder behind me, and he is someone who's precisely indicative of that last category, right? Someone who generated a tremendous amount of funds for the movement. And Nina Simone, who's also sitting behind me, was one of those artists, as well as stepping out in front from the stage, not only speaking in the interludes between songs to the urgency of the moment, but using the music itself to do that work and making the rebellion travel in ways that it could not otherwise travel, right? And I think this is really one of the most significant elements of Black music, is its ability to be shared. It doesn't have to be through proper channels of consumption and consumerism. It travels by word of mouth. It travels through curriculum in Black schools and churches. It travels all of these different ways. And I think that that kind of accessibility to the music makes it that much more dangerous, right? And this is why you have people like Paul Robeson, who are dragged before the House Un-American Activities Committee in the 1950s, who's accused of communism as a way to absolutely crush his entire career, his livelihood, because he was dangerous as a musician. It should tell us everything that these kinds of figures arise within Black and US and global histories, because the music becomes dangerous in that respect. And so I think we have to respect it. We have to actually understand what we're hearing, and we have to pay attention to what the musicians themselves are doing.
Yeah. When we come forward, I want to bring Pastor Q into the conversation about how deliberate some artists are, how some artists take on the idea. Mary Baraka says that all art is political, right?
Right.
W. Du Bois says all art is propaganda, right?
That's
All
right.
art is propaganda. And so
Despite the wailing of the purists.
Right, that art for art's sake, right? There is
Right,
no
right.
art for art's sake. So I see the third person behind you is Hugh Masekela, right? And I just really love all of them. And I want to talk about how all of them, but also some artists, are really deliberate and understand the responsibility that comes with generating art as politic, art as, maybe they don't like the word propaganda, but art as really messaging for a movement. We have more with Dr. Shauna Redmond, and Pastor Q's going to hop in too when we come forward on This Is Not a Drill.
BLM's This Is Not a Drill, only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Pasadena City College is proud to support Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr. For over 100 years, PCC has been a pillar of the community, and we're here for you as we work together to recover from the Eaton fire and rebuild Altadena's future. At PCC, we offer diverse career education programs that prepare you for in-demand jobs, fueling both today's recovery and tomorrow's growth. Whether you're starting a new career or advancing your skills, PCC gives you tools to build your future and your community. Pasadena City College, here for the Dena, here for you. Learn more at pccfordena.com.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Now at Verizon, we have some big news for your peace of mind. For all our customers, existing and new, we're locking in low prices for 3 years guaranteed on My Plan and My Home. That's future you peace of mind. And everyone can save on a brand new phone on My Plan when you trade in any phone from one of our top brands. That's new phone peace of mind. Because at Verizon, whether you're already a customer or you're just joining us, we got you. Visit Verizon today. Price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back to BLM's
This is not a drill.
exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
Oh yeah. That's my favorite Prince song, man.
Because this is a
Purple Rain is the
restorative
same.
one.
That's
This
right.
is my joy song. You can't be sad after you play.
Come on. Okay, I think you got the key. I think you got. Yeah. That's that. Yeah. That's that new
Shauna
Prince.
can sing actually too. I remember that. I almost
Uh-oh.
forgot that.
Put
Go
on the
ahead,
spot.
Shauna. You
Put
gonna
on
sing
the
for
spot.
us?
No, I'm going to stay on mute.
So this is not a drill on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm getting lots of texts from folks who are listening in. Look, if you want to join the conversation, I didn't announce the number all show, but if you want to join the conversation, our number is 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. And we are talking about the power of black music with black music scholar, one of the authors of actually two of my favorite books. If I had to have a top 50 books, and I have a top book list. Shauna's books are on there. Anthem is always on my top 10.
Should I put you on the spot? Where?
Well, I put it out every summer.
What
Actually,
number?
I guess it's summer. I don't have it
Is it
ranked
in top
like
10?
right now I'm really feeling Octavia Butler, so I can't put.
Yeah.
No, she's on the top 10,
Oh,
but
okay.
she's not on the top 2 right now because I
Right.
feel like Octavia Butler got to be the top 2 right now
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
everybody,
You can't
right?
mess with that.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, because parable, you got to read the parables
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Like,
Y'all go get that right
yeah,
now.
but Sean is in the top 10. Anthem is in the top 10 because the question that we're getting to, right?
Right.
And this is why I love Anthem because I have read everything, man. I love Paul Robeson, and that's a perfect title. And Anthem is so important because I'm an organizer, right? Anthem, like what I'm lacking as an organizer in arts and culture, because I'm not an artist other than organizing being my art. But when we don't have art in our organizing, I'm gonna just say it because I'm okay. I'm gonna just say it because I'm feeling it right now. It's white people's organizing. If it's no art in the organizing, it feels dead. It feels like there's no soul in it. Like it's like food without the soul. Soul food is better. Soul music is better. We need soul organizing. Soul organizing and the infusion of music and art into organizing is that. Let me get this call real quick and then I'm gonna come to you, Pastor Q.
Right.
Queen is calling in on line 1. What you got, Queen?
Hi, grand rising to you all.
Grand rising.
Well, I just wanted to say I'm so pleased. I'm a new listener actually, and I just wanted to say I'm very pleased at what I be listening to, and I'm so thankful for you and your panel of beautiful people, Mrs. Dominique DePrima, Tavis Smiley, and them all. And I just wanted to say blessings and have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much,
too.
Queen.
Thank
We
you.
hope you stay a listener and an engager. Because the whole goal of this station is to make sure we advance justice in our work as well. So let's throw it open to you first, Pastor Q, on the role of music in organizing.
Well, first of all, you can't. I keep repeating in my mind as we're talking, right? They want our rhythm, but not our blues, right? There is no way that we as a people have the privilege to just shut up and sing, to just shut up and dance, to just shut up and play. And the reason we can't do that, because when we step into a space, the space becomes political, because we are stepping into the space and into the context of an oppressive system that was not created for us. Reminds me of where the steel drum comes from in Trinidad, right, where they took away our drums because we were communicating about the master, and that's where calypso came from, right? As we talk about Harry Belafonte and folks like that, that's where calypso came from. It was resistance. Folk thinks it's just partying and just kind of out, right? It came out of, they both come together, right? The joy and the struggle comes together. Like Frankie Beverly and May says, joy and pain. It's like sunshine and rain, right? So I think when we think about music, and then when they took away the drums in Trinidad, going back to that, our people created steel drums.
Is that where steel drums
That's
came
right, because now there's these drums where they shipped different things, oil and different things. We just took those drums and we said, okay, you didn't like the deep bass sound of the drums. We're going to create something more piercing for your ears, right? And so that's where steel drums come from.
And that's where so much of the message gets hidden, right? Is in the beauty, right? That you have songs, Miriam Makeba talks about singing songs on the streets in South Africa in, their indigenous languages, and they're unrecognizable to the Afrikaner policing force, right? But they're so joyous and they're dancing in the streets that they have no idea that they're singing, "We're coming for you. We're going to overwhelm you. We are going to overthrow apartheid," right? But while they're dancing and smiling, the policing forces have no idea what's happening. And this has been part of the strategy of the music all along, is to submerge within the most beautiful, most transformative, most emotion-packed music you've ever heard, to hide within it the currents of rebellion, And that has been such a crucial element. And I think it's really important to point out, again, as we did before the break, and as you just did, Pastor, that all music has this potential. All music is political, but the question is, are you servicing the occupying forces? Are you servicing the state, or are you servicing the people? So all of the music is doing something. It's either the bread and circuses. I've heard Tom Morello of Rage Against the Machine talk about this, right? It's either the bread and circuses, you're pacifying people with your popular music and making them content with their lot, or you're raging against it. You're making your music something else, something that the people actually need. And that is always there. You're doing one or the other. And so you spoke of Melina Kalani, whose performance here in New York City for Pride was canceled because she is a supporter of Palestine, because she's vocal about her investment around Palestine. You know, that has just done so much damage to people's ability to think about, well, how then do we actually allow our artists to speak? How do we continue to make space for people to actually do the work that is urgent, is necessary, and that is fulfilling so many of our needs? So how do we create those spaces? And I think it's a big question.
Doc, I love what Shauna said, right? One of the things she said that I think we need to lift up and lean into is the fact that the joy really actually is masking our strategy, because the strategy is in the music, right? Kind of like the Negro spirituals, right?
Right.
We were strategizing, right, on how to deal with massa, right? And that was the same thing with Calypso music. It was strategizing how to deal with massa. When they found out that was what was going on, then they took the drums. So that's important for us to understand.
So I wonder then if it also requires, and we'll get to this, if it also requires an embedding of artistry in movement, right? Because the other thing that we see sometimes is artists be lifted up as leaders of movement when they're not connected with movement. Artists can be leaders of movement, but they have to be connected with movement, not just kind of saying whatever they feel like saying. Ice Cube decided and the best strategy is to go meet with Donald Trump, right? Let's embed in movement so that the right messaging can be advanced. When we come forward, I want to talk about, because you are an artist who's embedded in movement, right? And we have others who are embedded in movement. Kendrick is an artist who's embedded in movement.
Aloe Black.
Aloe Black is embedded in movement. So what is the responsibility, and how do we foster those interconnections? When we come forward, more with Shauna Redmond and Pastor Q.
More of BLM's This Is Not a Drill. Up next, we got a lot to talk about.
I'm Esther Dillard with BIN News Now. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass says she's deeply angered by ICE raids that took place throughout the city on Friday.
But the way this goes and spreads throughout the community, then people are not sure where they're safe.
Officials say federal agents raided multiple locations, including a clothing manufacturer in the city's fashion district. Bass says federal raids spread terror throughout Los Angeles, and she will not stand for this. White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller fired back at those remarks, saying federal law is supreme and will be enforced. 5 members of the Proud Boys who took part in the January 6, 2021 Capitol riot are suing the Department of Justice for millions over what they call political prosecution that violated their rights. And colleges can now directly pay their student athletes after a major settlement was reached with the NCAA. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
The Dodgers and the Yankees, 2 of baseball's most iconic franchises. Their rivalry, once a battle between boroughs, would transition into an East Coast-West Coast affair. Come to Dodger Stadium Friday, May 30th through June 1st for the 3-game series between the Dodgers and the Yankees. Visit Dodgers.com/tickets.
Yeah, y'all, come on. Here come the drums.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we fight the power every day.
Yeah, gotta give us what we want. Gotta give us what we need. Hey.
I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, you know, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, We don't black down.
Drop it! Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power! Fight the power!
Ready to order.
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to self-care and community well-being. Walk Good LA was formed in June 2020, inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement and the beginning stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. What began as a few minutes of breath work and yoga meditation before protests against police brutality turned into a safe space for the community to heal in hard times. The immensely positive response from the community transformed the momentum into a movement. Today, Walk Good LA is a black and brown-led community wellness organization based in Los Angeles. They provide spaces for healing through community yoga classes, guided meditations, hikes, run clubs, and other activations throughout Los Angeles that attract hundreds of members weekly. With the help of Propel and Michael B. Jordan, they now have a yoga and wellness studio in Los Angeles called the Walk Good Yard. To join their mailing list and connect with healing spaces, please visit walkgoodla.org. That's walkgoodla.org. Or find them on Instagram at walkgoodla. This is a community call to action, a community call to healing from KBLA Talk 1580.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. You ready?
Somebody make some noise in this joint.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates its 4th anniversary this year on Juneteenth.
Here we go again.
Hard to believe 4 years has gone by so fast. Oh my God. But here we are, still standing, still loving and serving our people as best we can.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
To celebrate our 4th anniversary, we have 4 big events, and you're invited to all of them.
She got a lot to say. Let's do this.
Let's get it on! On Wednesday, June 18th, we go live on C-SPAN for the 2nd consecutive year with our Climate Justice Plus Black Health Symposium. Tavis Smiley will moderate an all-star panel of thinkers and influencers as we continue our vitally important climate justice work.
Hey, Tavis Smiley, call the bomb.
On Thursday, June 19th, you're invited to join us as we celebrate Juneteenth and our 4th anniversary. There'll be plenty of food, fun, great music, good vibes, and all of your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts will be there.
Yeah, man.
Flip the beat. On Saturday, June 21st, there are 2 big events you're invited to attend.
I can't wait to hear it.
This year, KBLA Talk 1580 continues its annual partnership with the Empowerment Congress for a community celebration and dialogue to educate, engage, and empower. This year's theme is resilience in the face of chaos.
Can't wait to see what's up next.
Y'all ain't ready for this.
And new this year is our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium, moderated by Dominique DePrima, with a luncheon to follow. Dominique will be leading a dialogue with some of the most impactful Black women leaders in Los Angeles, and you're invited to join.
This is it.
All of these events are free, but seating is limited, so you must register in advance at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can find all the details you need about each event.
Check it out.
It's our 4th anniversary, and we would love to celebrate it with you.
I love you guys so much. There's nothing you can do about it.
We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The only black talk radio station west of the Mississippi.
Thank you for having our black.
Happy anniversary, KBLA.
We love you. Love you.
BLM's This Is Not a Drill continues right now.
All 7 and we'll watch them fall. They stand in the way of love and we will smoke them all with an intellect and a savoir-faire. No one in the whole universe will ever compare. I am yours now and you are mine, and together we'll love through all space and time, so don't cry. One day all 7 will die.
And that is Dr. Shauna Redmond's favorite Prince song, Seven. That's also one of my kids' bedtime songs. Yes, all seven will watch. We will watch them fall. Seven deadly sins, right? We will watch them fall. I want to go to the phones first before we hop back in with Dr. Shauna Redmond and Pastor Q, because I think this is Friday Jones on line 1, Kanza Friday Jones Muhammad on line 1. Let's go to Friday. Sis, is that you?
My sister. Yes.
I knew it was you. I knew it was you. I said, I don't know no other Fridays. That's got to be Kanza Muhammad Friday Jones. Really grateful to. I called you by every name you got.
All the legal names. It's all right. We out here today.
Look, I knew you were going to jump in this conversation. Grateful to have you jump in this conversation. People know you from the reparations work that you do, the incredible reparations work. Sister Friday, grateful to have her as part of BLMLA's lead on one of our co-leads on the reparations work, and has been doing reparations work as a city commissioner, has been doing reparations work for a long time. But Sister Friday also got her whole foot in the music industry, the music world. Tell them why, Sister Friday.
Yeah, sort of, but I want to drop just a couple of things because I'm running to this thing they having in Pasadena. They want to talk to Angelinos about politics. I'm here for it. Here's the thing. We have to remember that a 360 deal is sharecropping in a modern state, right? You guys are talking about how the music and the industry and does movement work. We need our musicians to understand how to not do plantation work.
Come on now.
You know, there is, in the city of New York, there is like a Jewish Holocaust preservation department that's been in existence, I want to say, for at least 15 years. And they hold on to like those cultural assets for those people. And we don't often think about our cultural assets, but we have Assembly Member Nikki Lucas in New York who's like, well, wait a minute. Our cultural assets have meaning. They have value. And because of that, she wrote a law similar asking for protections, you know, for us and for our creative work. A lot of people don't know that Walt Disney understood that Mickey Mouse was going to fall into public domain after, 100 years. So Disney did a Mickey Mouse law to extend protections for their intellectual property. And we have to be thinking like that. When we talk about reparations, people have a way of thinking, oh, reparations has nothing to do with me. But a lot of our early artists, and Big Mama Thornton was just recognized by Rock and Roll Hall of Fame 2024. We got Big Boy and Outkast. They hear 2025. A Tribe Called Quest 2024. Mary J. Blige 2024. We got to think about those musicians in the earlier days of music who were never paid, who were never given credit. And Dr. Kevin Green has written copyright reparations legislation so that those estates can benefit. And we have to share this information. And I'm on the freeway. I pull off the freeway so I could drop these little nuggets because reparations is a way of life. And as you continue with the lovely doctor who is sharing about movement work, and Dr. Melina Abdullah, we know, you know about that movement work. It is your life. Pastor Q, it's the life. We have to understand that what we make, we create, and we hold within our own, and we become the owners of what we create. And I just wanted to share that with y'all this morning.
Yeah. I also want to bring up Sister Rosetta Tarp, right? 2018 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. There is no king of rock and roll. She is the queen because she started it all.
Yes. And if you don't know who she is, you better go find out. It's a Google world.
You better ask somebody.
And Sister Friday has been doing work around this for a long time. I first met Sister Friday when we were both undergrad students at Howard University, and Kanza, is also the sister of Ali Shaheed Muhammad from Tribe Called Quest.
Okay.
So been doing really great work around hip hop and how do hip hop artists retain their power and control over the music that they deliberately, if you think about Tribe, deliberately create, right?
Right.
So this brings us back to the question we were leading in on, is what is the responsibility of artists to embed themselves in movement if they're going to acknowledge and accept the role that art is political, right? We don't want them talking out the side of their necks about what folks need or want, or, and I'm not talking about musicians right now. Like, we had Tiffany Haddish weighing in on Israel, and she needed to just, STFU, right? And learn something before she opens her mouth and gets on a plane and it's flown by the Israeli government to Israel, right? So what become
Agree. 110%.
right?
Look, people need to understand Dick Gregory. Dick Gregory did not do everything and broadcast it. We live in an era where even me, I'm on the side of the road on my phone. My God, like, how ridiculous is that? But we live with these devices. They're tied to our hands, hips, ears, eyes. They have our attention. And we have a tendency in this era to broadcast. But, Dick Gregory funded a lot of things, and he didn't say too many things about it until he got good and ready to, after certain research was done, after, he had put money on books for different people. He did things quietly. I understand there are a lot of people in movement work. My father used to have a thing, and peace be upon him, as we're at Eid here. But the reality is, if you're following someone, take your time to investigate them and know who you follow. Everybody does not deserve your life energy. And my father was very adamant about that, as he, during his time, did his own movement work. And so I would encourage artists to go to some of your community meetings, see who the leaders are in your community. If you left the hood, because we know some of y'all pack up and go, if you left the hood, know who the leaders are in the community that you left.
That's right.
And then you come back and you be quiet. And if you can lend your voice to an issue, lend your voice. If you can lend your money to an issue, lend your money. If you can just show up somewhere, because sometimes we just need your name brand. If you can do that, show
Use
up
your platform
and be in the room.
Right. That's
Yes.
right. Thanks so much for calling in, Sister Friday. I want to pass the mic to Pastor Q for just a quick second to weigh in on that, as well as an artist who is embedded in movement. You are movement.
Right.
Peace and blessings.
Blessings.
Peace and blessings.
Yeah, but I think when it comes to artists and movement, you can't come as a black artist. You cannot come to you can't do your art with and separate yourself from movement. Just your mere presence is movement. Your blackness, your melanin, that is a form of resistance in itself when you step outside the door. So when you do your art, it's kind of like when we did hip hop. When we did hip hop, it was just a party, right? The first promoter of hip hop was Cindy Campbell, Kool Herc's sister, right? We never give her that credit, but she threw a party. It was a school party. It was she was trying to raise money to go to school, right? It was just a house party or a block party, right? And so out of that came all of the a hodgepodge of what we now call hip hop, right? And now I remember when before we signed to Virgin Records, we would be practicing in the garage, and even our own people would say to us, y'all ain't gonna never be nothing, stop doing that jungle music, all of that stuff, right? So I think a lot of our artists grew up in a colonized society, so they too need to be decolonized. They don't even understand what's going on. I think when Snoop does certain things, he doesn't understand what's going on. When Q
I think
does
he
certain
understands.
things, right? I think it's about the
I
dope.
mean, I think
Right.
I think they made a choice. Take this check.
Right. I'll say it this way. They're not conscious enough to be able to make the right decision.
Right. And we got to remember that the same thing applies to artistry as it does to movement, folks. Some
That's right.
people are about the art as politics,
Right.
and some people are about the money. So you're
Right.
either motivated by movement or you're motivated by money. When we come forward, I want to go back to Dr. Shauna Redmond.
Indeed.
And kind of pick up on this question about artists and movement, and what is that responsibility, and how do we kind of distinguish also as those who are like me, who appreciate art and are invigorated and renewed and rejuvenated by art, right? But are not artists, right? How do we know which artists we should be even paying attention to? Like, there is art, I'm from Oakland, so now I'm talking too long, but I'm from Oakland. Sorry you can't be from Oakland and not love Too Short. But Too Short is not my leader. I'm not looking for him for messaging. I'm looking at him because sometimes I need a dope fiend beat, right?
Right.
How do we make that distinction? So when we come forward more with Dr. Shauna Redmond right here on This Is Not a Drill.
More of BLM's This Is Not a Drill up next.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Pasadena City College is proud to support Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr. For over 100 years, PCC has been a pillar of the community, and we're here for you as we work together to recover from the Eaton fire and rebuild Altadena's future. At PCC, we offer diverse career education programs that prepare you for in-demand jobs, fueling both today's recovery and tomorrow's growth. Whether you're starting a new career or advancing your skills, PCC gives you tools to build your future and your community. Pasadena City College, here for the Dena, here for you. Learn more at PCCfordena.com.
The State of the People Power Tour is not a moment, it's a movement. 11 cities, one mission. To organize with care, build with strategy, and remind ourselves that we have never needed saving. This Friday and Saturday, the State of the People Power Tour arrives in LA for its final stop. The State of the People Power Tour is not just a series of stops. It's a signal, a shift, a belief that power lies in the hands of everyday people. A belief that if we show up for each other, our communities will be stronger. Join us this Friday, June 6th in Los Angeles at the Seed School and on Saturday, June 7th at Pasadena City College. We need you in the room to link arms with neighbors and leaders from across the country to build something that will last, because we believe if we move together, we will rise together. For more information and to register, go to stateoftheppl.com and join us as we build a new nation where every voice matters.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. If you need help getting your resume in order, finding job training, or landing a job, we've got 3 great options for you. First, the City of Los Angeles has WorkSource centers across the area offering free job support. The California Workforce Development Board can help you with everything from GED prep to vocational training at no cost to you. On the federal level, the Department of Labor's American Job Centers offer a full range of services for job seekers and businesses alike. Visit careeronestop.org, or for more info, just call California's Help Center or visit cwdb.ca.gov or call 916-657-1440. For the City of Los Angeles programs, go to ewdd.lacity.gov or call 213-744-7300. All these services are free to help you get your next job. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to BLM's This Is Not a Drill. Now, back to the conversation.
I never meant to call you in your sorrow. I never meant to call you in your pain. I'm the one who wants to have you laughing. I only want to see you laughing in the purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there. We in the studio vibing.
Man, look.
This is not a drill, y'all. This is the real.
Soul music. You can't close your eyes and hear that song and your soul not open up. That's the song Prince called his baby.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't do it like they used to either.
People always ask me as a Prince fan, like, what's your favorite song? And they look for me to come up with something obscure.
Right.
My favorite song is his favorite song.
Right.
Purple Rain is a song.
Purple Rain is the one.
Purple Rain is the song. So we are talking with Pastor Q, of course, is sitting across from me, and we have Dr. Shauna Redmond from Columbia University
Indeed.
Joining us.
Dropping
and
dimes.
Grateful to have her. We were asking this question. One of the points Dr. Redmond raised is that, art is politics, right? Art is not
That's
just
right.
something that you're producing. If you are, that's also political. If you're thinking boots on the ground, it's just a line dance song, and you're not saying, well, let's line dance on these cops, then that's a political choice too. Dr. Redmond, we started to get to this question about artists and responsibility to movement, but also movement kind of being able to be discerning about following artists. So artists can be movement, but some artists are not movement yet, right? We want to, of course, engage in the work of conversation, making sure, Aloe Black and Maya Jupiter, they've been knee deep, waist deep in BLM work since day 2. Like, I think they first started coming out in 2015. They know this, but some don't. And so that's the question. I don't want to overtalk it.
I mean, I think we have to recognize that the musicians have to be organized like everyone else. These are not people who come into the world fully knowledgeable about the dynamics around them, even if they live in the community, even if they're present in the kinds of on-the-ground struggles. They need guidance. They need community around them in the same way that all the rest of us do. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to study some of the most fantastic and exceptional musicians that I think the world has ever produced. But these are people who also were in active study with other people in order to create the work that they're now lionized for, right? Miriam Makeba and Sekou Touré, Miriam Makeba and Nina Simone and Langston Hughes, right? All of these people, Lorraine Hansberry, were in conversation with each other, organizing one another, challenging one another. And I think we have to understand that the musicians need guidance from us just as much as we need guidance from them, that they shouldn't be exceptionalized. They should recognize their station and their platform and the opportunities that they afford to their communities, but that the knowledge has to be generated from a wider swath of people than simply themselves. So you have moments where you have people with a platform, people with a community or with currency around them who come out with these songs that are meant to meet a moment. And while there may be some important critique embedded in it, what they ultimately amount to is a call for reform, for example, right? All of the people who come right up to the word abolition and stop short, right? That's not helpful. Actually, we have a whole catalog of those kinds of songs from people that have been used in the left of center liberal films and all of those things. But the real work is actually using the language, trafficking in it, making it mean things for your listeners that it otherwise would not. So I think there's that element of it. But something that I've been really committed to in my thinking too is to work in some respects or in some instances to remove the artist completely. What if we just look at the music itself? It's not attached to a body, a man, a woman, anyone else. We're actually looking at the music itself. And so the main argument, or the way that I distill Anthem for people, is to say that book is about how Black music is used to animate Black social movements. It's not about Paul Robeson and Nina Simone and James Weldon Johnson and Marcus Garvey, who are all in the book, but it's not about those people. It's actually about the communities of action that use the music to change the world, to animate the kinds of ideas that are coming out of music movement organizations. So if we think about anthems as songs that are used, right, then to track how they're used is far more important to me than where they originated from. I'm not interested so much in whether or not James Weldon Johnson wanted Lift Every Voice and Sing to be the Black national anthem. He's actually very ambiguous around those things. So the intent for him is less important to me than how the communities picked that song up and made it an anthem, regardless of what he wanted it to be. And I think we have to then, as the movements, as the audiences for these songs, take that responsibility too. This is our music. Whoever sung it first is wonderful, and we thank them for that gift, but what we make of it next is entirely up to us.
Love that.
Ashe.
Is there, and we're running up on time, can you give us a few that have been that? A few anthems. What are a few examples of anthems?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously we think about this moment of BLM, rocking the entire world, and think about Kendrick's All Right. We think about um, Abdullah Ibrahim in South Africa, right? We think about his music, in particular Manenberg. We think about Freddie Knuckles and the House anthems, right? I think that there's a whole like dynamic genre constellation of anthems, and anthems for different kinds of purposes, queer anthems, women's liberation anthems, right? Aretha Franklin's You Make Me Feel, right? These are the songs that become kind of particular to certain kinds of political stakes and political circumstances. And I think we have to listen through the ways in which we live. We have to listen intersectionally. We have to listen in real time, but also in connection with all of the policies and procedures and movements that predate us. What are the continuities, and who's actually speaking to those longer lineages? Whose voices can we amplify, but whose songs actually amplify our own? What are those songs that become the bullhorn for my needs, my rights, my moment? And I think to listen in that way is a radically different way of engaging with sound, and it's one that actually gets us closer to our freedom moment.
I love that. And I think there's songs that are becoming anthems even if they didn't intend them to be. So, FTP is an anthem. F Donald Trump is
FDT,
becoming an
yeah.
anthem, right?
Nipsey Hussle, please.
Shauna Redmond, we're almost completely out of time. How do people follow your work?
I am not really on X anymore, so I'm not going to say that. I'm on Instagram at Shauna L. Redmond, and have written about this music in various different venues, but also have written about my experiences of the current moment and Colombia for various publications. So I just, want to shout out the struggle that's happening in our workplaces, in our universities, and to pay attention to those moments as well. But absolutely, I can be reached by email at columbia.edu, and look forward to communicating with folks.
Out from BLM Grassroots. You can follow BLM Grassroots on all social media. You can follow me at Doc Melly Mel. Pastor Q, you are?
Create Justice on IG. Create Justice _
Create Justice on IG. Thank you so much to President for helping to co-produce the show today. Philip Jackson and Simeon on the boards, on them ones and twos today. Happy Prince Day. Please play some Prince.
Come on.
Thank you all. Until next week. Peace out.
Give the people what they want. Come on.
Peace.